Hello and welcome to Talking Good Gamers match preview. West Ham United against Liverpool back into domestic action after a pretty decent week for both clubs. Liverpool, of course, winning, qualifying for the last 16 of the Champions League. And West Ham drawn, also qualifying, well, for the last 32 for now of the Europa League. Gonzo, as always, can I get your thoughts on our opponents, please?
Yeah, they had a dip. I think they suffered more than most, perhaps Liverpool and Sheffield United, with the COVID restrictions in terms of home fans being allowed in the ground. Obviously, you know, they make a right racket in there, and I felt that really hindered them. But they're an excellent football team, and I like their brand of football because the brand of football is really fast. And I think it's made all the more remarkable, actually, what Liverpool have done by the fact that they haven't spent the money that the other clubs have. And when you look at the team they put out, keeping people fit is a large part of it, by the way, and they've got their own things to deal with, obviously, when the African Cup of Nations comes along. But actually, I do feel that the foundations of Liverpool's building programme, and where they really sort of took off, was actually using the money that they got from Coutinho, which actually, when you look at it now, was 150-odd million, which seems like remarkable money, doesn't it? But they're not being given a blank checkbook by their owners, the Fenway Group. So I think they have to buy really well. They don't seem to splash out and buy many players at all. So for them to be as rampant as they are, and let's be fair, I think they've won both legs against Atletico Madrid, who are no mugs. And they're competing again at the top end of the Premier League. They've won the Premier League title. They were European champions a couple of years ago. I think it's quite remarkable, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it feels like they're bouncing back this year for some reason. I thought they went a bit flat last season. It was almost like, is this the sort of beginning of the end for this Liverpool squad? Because they are on the elder side of it. A lot of their players will need replaced soon. So you did think that maybe that they've hit their peak and they're now on the decline. But this season, they seem to be back with a vengeance, really. It helps by one player in particular, of course. As for their spending, well, any team misses Bournemouth in the Premier League. It's Liverpool, isn't it? They don't have Bournemouth to buy Solanke, Jordan Ibe, and whoever else they bought off them for big fees as well. But yeah, I think transfer market-wise, they've always been quite impressive. But there's been one or two where it hasn't quite worked out as well as they think. You know, Thiago, for example, hasn't been quite the success as you might have first imagined. Wijnaldum was a huge loss for them in the summer, but they seem to have recovered well, although... Well, I think Keita's having a good season. I think that midfield does miss Wijnaldum a few times this season, but they're picking up the points. They're doing quite well. Like you said, they play good football. As a neutral, I've enjoyed watching them play, particularly when they played at Old Trafford. I hate Man U. So I enjoyed that game when they played Man United. I thought against Atletico Madrid, both games, fantastic. Really good football, really fast, very direct. And they're just electric sometimes. When they're on their game, you look at them and you think, bloody hell, they'll beat any team in the world when they're on top form. Well, do you think they'll win the title this season? The problem is we've done the City preview not long ago, haven't we? And we sort of both said that we think City will win the title. Do you stick by that, or do you think Liverpool, because since then, Liverpool have obviously gone and slapped Man U and generally look good?
They don't have the squad, and that's the biggest problem for them. And they shouldn't be competing with Man City. They shouldn't really be competing with Chelsea. They shouldn't really be competing with Man U. I mean, they just don't spend the money that the others do. So
net spend, to be clear, before someone quotes about the players they've signed for big money, Gonzo's referring to net spend.
They don't comparatively. They don't spend. Was a signing? But Canate, 30 million. Was that it this season? But I'm not saying they didn't sign anyone else, but in terms of spending money, I think that was it. Was it last season? Jota, 45 million. Listen, they're not small figures, but compared to what everybody else does, which is sort of seems to be hundreds of millions, they don't get close to it. They don't do that. And as I say, I think the big side is Alisson and Van Dijk were used with the Coutinho money. So I just don't feel that they spend as much money because of that. They don't have a padded out squad. They don't have these ready-made replacements to go into the team. My point is they're not going to have anyone to replace Salah, who has obviously been a wonderful signing for them. But he is, they're going to miss him. They really are. I don't know what they're going to do. Actually, we're quite unlucky, really. I think at the start of the season, it looked like they were almost sort of grooming Harvey Elliott to come in and feature a lot more this season. He got an absolutely horrific injury, didn't he? So I don't think they can win the title, no.
Yeah, I agree with you, actually. I think they'll end up finishing third in a three-horse race, really. I think they'll comfortably be third, by the way. I don't think fourth will be anywhere near them. But I'm going to put it down to the lack of squad depth as well. And like I said, that midfield trio, whenever I see them individually, bar Fabinho, but you see Henderson in there and Oxlade-Chamberlain there, you just think it's not quite title-winning midfield, that. And that's why I think they miss Wijnaldum massively. Obviously, Firmino now is out for a period of time. Could be a blessing in disguise because it means Jota is going to play, but they will eventually miss Firmino. There is some games that Firmino works really well for them, and it is that lack of squad depth. African nations as well is going to be a little bit of a bother, and the link with Jared Bowen at the start of the season, I bet they're wishing they got him now, given the form that he's been in for West Ham, and would be not a perfect replacement, but he'd certainly be a good stopgap for them. But I think they'll just fall short. But saying that, I wouldn't dismiss them winning the Champions League, Gonzo, actually. I think, given when the Champions League is played out, the African nations might not impact that competition too much, given that they're already through with 2 games to spare. I've got a feeling they might win the Champions League,
Well, I think their back four and their front three is as good as anyone. And, it's squad. There's nothing wrong with the first team at all. I mean, they're irresistible sometimes with the pace they play out. Obviously, they've got a goalkeeper as well. It depends if they put that can they get that team out in the Champions League. The experience of having won it, and with those players there having that muscle memory, that mental memory. Mental memory is just a memory, isn't it? That memory of doing it before, that's going to help them. Obviously, Klopp knows what he's doing there, and can they? I think will Salah be out for that first knockout round? That's the thing. If he
depends how Egypt do.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't claim to know if they're, whether they're rated to fancy to do well or not. I wouldn't know, but I mean that's going to be key. I think once they get through that and they get the players back, then they have a really good chance of doing it. They can beat anyone on a day. This is the point. Liverpool can beat anyone on a day. And actually, funny enough, even though we both prefer City probably to win the title, actually on a one-off basis with all players fit, I would pick Liverpool to win that one-off game because I'm still yet to be convinced of Guardiola. I mean, just look at the Champions League final last season. You know what I mean? I think sometimes that one-off, he tries to be a little bit too clever sometimes, where I just think Liverpool just turn up and play the way they play, and it's a case of, well, you deal with it. You won't find anything particularly fancy from them. They'll just play the Klopp way,
And before we just talk about the players, we admire from Liverpool and one world-class player in particular, Gonzo, how about we talk about an app in particular that is also world-class?
It is absolutely world-class and will also be around in the latter stages of European competition. That, of course, is the One Football app. Now, it doesn't matter if you're a West Ham fan, if you're a Liverpool fan, or a fan of anybody else. If you're watching it, you download, use the link below. Then I know you've come from Hammers Chat. You help us out. It says, who do you support? You click on West Ham. Well, unless you don't support West Ham, you might support Liverpool. Click on Liverpool. And what it will do is it will aggregate all the news from your chosen club and your chosen nation, but all into one place. Lineups before the match, transfer gossip, injury news, just all the news pertaining to your club.
There you go. There you have it. Both fans will need to know what's going on in the African nations come January. You get full on that competition ahead of times as well. And don't worry, you don't need to sell any apps to Bournemouth in order to fund your appage on OneFootball. It's completely free. Get it downloaded. Link in the description and the pinned comments. Now, Gonzo, I normally say to you, players we admire, you take your pick. Very rarely will I pick one player in particular to talk about first, but we have to with Mo Salah because I still feel he's underappreciated, maybe not underrated. I think this is one of the best players we've ever seen in the Premier League, undoubtedly for me. And I don't think he's spoken about in that way yet. I think he's maybe going to have to leave the Premier League before we recognise just how good he is. But he's just ridiculous. What a talent he is.
Well, I think we know. I think in the Premier League we know. I think it's more, is he getting the kudos on the European stage? And I was having this conversation with Andy at the game, at the Tottenham game the other day, and it's the sort of the shadow of Ronaldo and Messi, who, you know me, I think these are wonderful players, wonderful. Best goal scorer the world has ever known in the history of the game, Ronaldo. But they've not been the best two players in Europe for the last 2 or 3 seasons. They haven't. You know, others are up there. but you still always get the impression that, one of both of them might win the Ballon d'Or or so, and they don't really deserve it. There are others out there, and I feel that Salah is one of a number of players who are under their shadow and still in their shadow. But actually, he is the modern day Messi. He is the new Messi, or whatever you want to call it. So I think in the Premier League, we all know. I think we all fear him when we come up against him, and it's one of those players that's almost unstoppable. You could tell Aaron Cresswell to do what he likes, but you're probably not going to stop him. So I just wonder if the European game, but it's because I do think it's nothing to do with Salah. It's just this. It's not a ridiculous love him, but it's gone on. The romance gone a bit too long with Messi and Ronaldo. As other people coming through are playing well.
Players you may apart from Mo Salah.
I like. I think Alexander Arnold is a hell of a player. I really do. I think he's a real footballer. I'm not sure he's. It'll never surprise me if he changes his position or something like that. I don't think Southgate alluded to it. Oh, we might play him in central midfield. I thought, well, don't do that, Gareth. You're about to go into a major championship, and he got injured anyway. But as he learns later on in his career, that wouldn't surprise me if he moves from the position that he's currently in, because he sort of strikes the ball like Beckham, doesn't he? He's very, very good. His long range passing, his crossing is as good as anyone's in the league, and whenever you see him have a long shot, he almost curl passes it into the back of the net, which is something, which is always really good. I mean, they've got so many good players. Look, we could talk about Salah and Mane and Van Dijk and all the obvious ones, maybe to do with us. So I think he played Matip and Van Dijk in the game against Atletico, but I think they possibly were just coming up against Suarez then. Don't be surprised, I think, if he plays Konate in this one. And I really like Konate, by the way. I think he's a really good player because he's strong and he's fast, and it may well be the direct antidote to Antonio. I love the fullbacks there, though. Robertson as well on the other side, fantastic player.
Yeah, I love Robertson for obvious reasons. I think Curtis Jones is a young player I'm really looking forward to seeing the future of. I think he's got a lot of talent. He keeps getting injured, unfortunately. Every time there's an opening in the Liverpool team, and you think Curtis Jones is going to get in, he seems to pick up his own injury as well. And just hope he's not going to be one of those players that just never quite reaches his potential. But I really like him whenever I see him. Very direct, doesn't mind a shot from 25 yards out. When you've got a young player, doesn't mind that responsibility. I appreciate that. I respect that quite a lot as well. I think Keita is having a really good season as well in midfield. Again, another player that's constantly injured, but it's not really worked for him since his big money move a couple of seasons ago from Leipzig. It's not really worked out for him, but I think this season when he's played, he has looked really good. A couple of wonder goals as well for some thumping strikes. And Jota, I liked Jota at Wolves. Thought Liverpool was the right club to go to, but I did wonder, well, who are you going to nick? Because at the time, Firmino, Mane and Salah was ridiculous for him. I thought this guy, a bit like what Bowen was in the summer when Bowen was linked to Liverpool. It's like, hang on a minute, you're too good to sit on the bench at Liverpool. You can play first team football at a club outside the top four. Why would you go sit on the bench there? He's gone there, and he is on the bench, off the bench. But I think Klopp's managing him quite well, actually. Obviously, he's going to start against us. Started midweek, got his goal. Usually, when he scored, it's Alexander Arnold that's assisting him. That's a serious link-up that I'm feeling. The Alexander Arnold cross to Jota kind of thing. But yeah, fantastic players at Liverpool. But if you want a fantastic experience before or after the game on Sunday, we have our boats open as usual. Now, the tickets are via a link in the description. Just go to the description. Everything you need is in the description. All the links are there. All the information there. Just click it. Before you even watch a Harris Chat video, just click the description and see what's going on, because then you know what's coming up. But the boats are there. Kids are welcome. Kids go free. We're open before the game, after the game. Barbecue, music, various bars as well. Get yourself down there. It's only 2 minutes from the London Stadium. Get your tickets, get down there Sunday and enjoy yourself. Shall we talk about West Ham now?
Yeah, but let's also talk about Klopp flashing his knickers at Jarrod Bowen. I mean, he was shameless, wasn't it? A shameless public tap-up. Did you hear it?
No, I didn't. So you're going to have to explain for everyone else.
Oh, well, I mean, he's pretty much singled out Bowen, saying, I really like this player. And with the put into against the backdrop of they've been linked with him and they've been interested in him. He's basically said, I really like West Ham. They play fast football. They're an exciting team to watch, but I really like Bowen. He's a player we admire. Oh, brilliant. Cheers.
What's happening in January? Cheers, Jared.
Seriously, I couldn't believe it. I thought, well, blimey, if even football people, they're normally a bit more cute than that. They normally say, I don't talk about other people's players. I mean, but a journalist said, you've been linked with Jarrod Bowen. Oh, he was, yeah. I mean, he was just, as I say, flashing his knickers at him, really.
I'm more surprised it's got you wound up, because other managers do it to our players all the time. How often does Pep single out Declan Rice and stuff ahead or after the games and stuff like that? And Mourinho did it with Issa Diop, didn't he? He's a monster.
Maybe Klopp annoys me more than those.
He must do, because you've never got wound up about any other manager singling out our players.
It just happened. I think in the way it happened as well, and I think it's a little bit more believable, particularly when you look at the way they play. You can see it, can't you?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. So no, I didn't like it at all.
Right, goalkeeper. You weren't too happy with Fabianski last weekend. Would you like to see Fabianski continuing goal or Areola time?
Oh, it's tough. It's really tough. In all honesty, I don't know. Take your pick. Honestly, take your pick. Roll the dice, take your chances. I really don't know. I think possibly for this game, I might go with Fabianski again, just for communication between Ogbonna and Zuma there. That might be just rather than rocking a boat. We're going to need every advantage we can possibly get defensively on this one. I don't know, but then, I mean, I felt, as I said when we did our video this morning, I felt that Areola could have done better for the first goal against Genk, but he did make some good saves as well, didn't he? But that's what Fabianski did. He made an error, but also made some good saves as well. So I think there's nothing between them at the moment, mate.
I would go with Fabianski. I think Areola, that was a bad game to make an error in for Areola. Had he saved that and kept the clean sheet, I think he might have edged it in the GO11 ahead of Sunday, because I wasn't too impressed with Fabianski last weekend against Villa. I do think he was still at fault. A lot of people disagree with me. That's okay, but I watched that again. I still blame Fabianski as well as other players. And I just thought his gloves were up for grabs perhaps on Thursday, but I don't think Areola did enough to clinch them. Like, I agree, made some good saves, had an okay game for Areola, but you need to be better than okay to get into this team. To nick Fabianski's place, to nick whoever else's place, you need to be 3-4 man-of-match contender performances in a row in order to get in there. You've seen how good Ben Johnson had to perform consistently over a number of games in order to get Soufal's place. That's a standard. Areola hasn't reached that standard as yet. It's not a problem. I'm not saying he's a bad goalkeeper, just not yet. So Fabianski for me. The only reason I might have been inclined to change is because Liverpool do like to cross the ball. Alexander Arnold is unbelievable at crossing, as is Robertson. Trust Areola more than I do Fabianski coming out and claiming those crosses. And I think if you've got Fabianski in goal, it's up to the defence to win everything there. I don't think the keeper is going to be coming out to help your centre-backs. But sometimes that's not a bad thing, because your defence knows your keeper's not coming. The only thing worse than that is when they're not sure if the keeper's not coming or not, or there's accidents and collisions and stuff. So Fabianski for me. And now back four recently gone, so being Creswell, Ogbonna, Zuma, Johnson. You were a bit unsure of the Ogbonna performance. Soufal's back, had a 90 minutes under his belt last night. Would you make any changes?
No, I wouldn't, because, I mean, funny enough, you talk about that. Did Areola do enough to get Fabianski out of there? No, I don't think he did. Did Diop? No, I don't think he did. I don't think he had a great game against Genk. But I got it. But we still don't know if he would put. I fancied. We had a discussion about this the other day. I fancied, given the choice, he'd put Dawson in there anyway. So I'd keep it the same. I think you've got to keep this defence the same. It's not actually Ogbonna that worries me. It's actually Cresswell. Just keeps playing all the games all the time, which is a bit of a worry. But they'll be assessing his fitness, and he must have really, really high fitness levels. So the other thing is Salah played 90 minutes for Liverpool. So I'd keep the defence the same.
Still Ben Johnson?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I've not seen. You can't not. You know, it's not just rewarding someone because you should and being loyal and the rest of it. You're rewarding excellence and you're rewarding performance. That's a great right-back performance that we saw in the last game, and he's had a few of them recently.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think I would have, against Villa, I would have understood if Moyes took Soufal back every bit. I wouldn't have liked it. I would have liked to have seen Johnson, but I would have understood it. I won't understand it against Liverpool if he swaps them. I think, no, hang on a minute. Ben Johnson doesn't let you down. He's excelled last weekend. He repaid your faith and then some on top of it. You cannot punish him. Plus, Ben Johnson had a nice rest during the week. He wasn't played on Thursday night, which is important. He's rested up, ready to go. Ogbonna, he's the one I'm worried about. Out the whole starting 11 I'm going to name and you're going to name, he's one that I'm a little bit wary of on Sunday, purely because of Salah. And in the last few games, there's almost one occasion, maybe two occasions, where he's beaten purely for pace. And that's all. It's not his fault.
Sure.
But we've just not been punished yet. So I don't think it's been an issue as yet, because we get away with it. Whether someone covers him, he gets back, the opposition striker doesn't capitalise on it. I'm not sure you get away with it against Salah. If someone's going to punish you in the league, it's probably Mo Salah. I wouldn't be surprised when we do the review on Sunday, we're talking about a goal by Liverpool, which has come from a lack of pace from the ball. I hope not.
And him touching it and then Salah diving and making it absolute most of. Maybe Ogbonna says something to Salah and Salah goes, oh, like that.
Maybe. Rice and Souček, it's got to be.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Yeah, that's not even in any doubt. And let's be fair, it's not like Noble or Krau are putting pressure on them to take their places. It's just they're head and shoulders above any other midfielder at the club.
Well, let's do that for 1-by-1. Mikel Antonio up front through default.
I
have form in the last few games, so it could do with a bit of a better Mikel Antonio performance, I think.
Yes, but fit. And as long as he's fit, it's not one of those mechanics when he comes back from injury and you're waiting for 2 or 3 games, he's fit. So if it can come off him. Look, his performance can be a little bit hit and miss, but if he is ready, physically ready, then he can almost explode, detonate at any point and cause defenders, trouble. And they'll be making preparations for him. Make no mistake about it.
Yeah, I agree. Against Villa, you could almost argue he had a bit of a quiet game. Yeah, he had a hand in all our goals. You know, he was very pivotal to our win against Villa as well. So yes, it's through default, but it's also merit as well. Possible to be both. Now the attacking trio, Jared Bowen's first name on the team sheet, really.
Yeah.
In that position before
Absolutely.
Then come right. So Jared Bowen goes in. Say Benrahma done enough with his performance last night just to.
You have to, because it will give them something to think about. So if we assume that, and I am assuming, have you done your opposition preview on Patreon yet?
No, I was literally ready to record it, but then I had a phone call, which I've told you about.
You have. You may or may not put Konate in there. I suspect Konate will play. Now, if they're doing that for Antonio. Here's the thing. If they're doing that for Antonio, I don't think that Alexander-Arnold is going to be able to quite deal with Benrahma on his own. So does Konate then go across and help? Excuse me, Gio. Sorry.
So what Gordon's saying is, will Konate go across and Alexander-Arnold against Saïd Benrahma, which will present us an opportunity with Antonio?
Absolutely right. I was so choked at the prospect of it that clearly got a bit emotional. I had to clear my throat. So I do think that is a real possibility there, and I would like to see that. So it's pivotal that Benrahma does play, and he's peckers up. He's informed, Gio. Let's get him out there, while he's confident.
Yeah, his peacock feathers are showing. You were spitting feathers there. But I think Benrahma's got to start as well. Last night, we saw inform Benrahma in that second half. The second goal wouldn't have happened with the first goal. I'm quite convinced of that. When you score a goal in football, anyone that knows football, play football knows when you score, you do a really good tackle. You do get confidence. You do get a little bit of swagger about you. You do think, actually, I can do this and I can do that. And the second goal was a result of it. And I would like to see Benrahma continue that form against Alexander-Arnold. But this is pivotal against Alexander-Arnold. Not in the middle against Fabinho. Out on the left, 1-on-1 against Alexander-Arnold. I don't want to see him in the middle and Fornals on the left. I don't like that. Benrahma in his natural position, please. The one that he's shown for with Brentford, which we paid 25 million for.
Sure.
Let's see him in that position. Now, the number 10 role, if you want to call it that, it's sort of been Fornals' position, but Lanzini's really been in a decent bit of form. Was really good against Aston Villa when he come on. Was really good last night against Genk, and you can go back a few other games as well where Lanzini's generally played pretty well. Has he played well enough, or is it still Pablo Fornals?
Well, it's Fornals for Moyes. Moyes will play Fornals, but he's played well enough.
No, I don't care about Moyes' team.
I don't care about Moyes.
I want Gonzo's team.
it has Lanzini in it. I can exclusively reveal now. And this is what I'm talking about. It's not just he was good against Villa. That was excellence when he came on. That was a wonderful number 10 performance when he came off the bench. And then what you saw against Genk was a footballer in complete control of the ball, his surroundings, his teammates positionally, the technique was there. And you have to... I understand why Fornals would be in there because he does work really hard. But we're talking about exceptional skill here. And if it's going to be a tight game, exceptional skill may well make or break or make the difference, you know. So if people are going to be tied up like Benrahma and Antonio are going to be tying up people like Konate, then it's going to leave space for other people. And that might be a Declan Rice long shot, but I tell you what, if there is people moving into space or drifting into space, maybe while they're concentrating on that, Bowen comes in, you want someone that's going to be able to pick them out. And I think we've seen that really, really clearly, not just in the overall play, but in 2 of the goals that we scored in the last 2 games, that actually sometimes it's decision making. As we've been frustrated with a few players recently who perhaps take one touch too many or take a shot when there's another player in a better position. Lanzini's not that player. Lanzini will make the correct decision and he will pick the player out. And if it can't, look, this game is not going to be 15 chances for Liverpool, 15 chances for West Ham. That's not going to happen. West Ham will not have as many chances as we usually have. And if what we get is 3, 4, 5, 6 chances, you're going to want to make sure the right decision is made. And I trust Lanzini to do that.
I'm still 50-50, really. I'm going to go for Fornals for the sake of it, because Fornals has got a good record against Liverpool. When we played Liverpool, Fornals has played well. And I'm not saying Fornals sees Liverpool and think, well, hey, I'm going to turn into Messi. It's Liverpool. But what I'm saying is the way that Liverpool plays football allows Fornals to shine. Sure. Fornals can do well against that style of football. There's evidence there to back up with Fornals' previous performances. If this was against Wolves, we were playing Wolves next, I would have picked Lanzini because I think our attacking trio, if you want, or attacking forward to some extent, despite scoring 4 against Villa, I feel like they need a bit of a kick up the arse a little bit. I think they've been a little bit not quite at it for a few games now. In the first 80 minutes of Aston Villa, Everton, whoever else we've been playing in that games as well, I can't remember now. But those games where they've just been a little bit not great, and I think Lanzini has been really, really good. But I don't know, actually. I'm almost convinced myself go with Lanzini because I always say we saw last week. Last week, we got a bit of a blueprint on how to play Liverpool. We're fortunate to be playing Liverpool this weekend because Brighton went to Anfield and had a pop at them. Two goals down, but they took it back 2-2. They were probably unfortunate not to go on and win Brighton. Brighton had a real go at them and got something from the game. They were unfortunate to get all 3 points. That provides a blueprint. That says to David Moyes, this is how you play against Liverpool. There it is. Copy that. You'll do all right. I think Lanzini would suit Brighton more than what Pablo Fornals does. I think if you were to look at the way Brighton play, I think Lanzini is more of that ilk of player than what Fornals is. I'll go with Fornals because I do think you do need that nitty-gritty hard work that he offers. But if come Sunday Lanzini starts, I'm going to have no complaints whatsoever. Anyway, Sunday afternoon, Glasgow play Liverpool. Is this a really good barometer for West Ham? A good idea of where we're at and to some extent Moyes' attitude? Because if I've got one criticism of last season, it is our attitude against Liverpool, City, and Chelsea in particular. Not so much Tottenham and Arsenal, but even them to some extent. But in particular, the other 3, I feel like it's a bit white flaggish. What's that saying? Football, play the team, not the badge. I think sometimes we've played the badge, if you like. And Sunday, I want to see a different West Ham to West Ham last season against the sides.
Yeah, I like the way you left Man United off your list. Then that tickled me. It's I would be concerned about that as well, and that is my main concern, and that will be my main concern when you ask me if I'm confident, because I do think we do have the players to trouble Liverpool. It's are we going to grasp the moment? Is Moyes going to defend, or actually think, you know what? Let's put this team under pressure. It's a real tough one. Gio, it's a real tough one. I also have the same reservations and criticisms of David Moyes, put it that way, on this particular one. I hope he's evolving. I hope we're not going to have that, but I suspect we might well be playing the badge again.
Interesting. Are you confident?
No. For that reason, I can't be confident. I can't. They're so good. They are so good. Is this pivotal? Will it tell us loads? I don't think so, because I think, we can lose this game and win against Wolves, and we're still up there. And that would, I think it might tell us what we already know, which is we're not one of the best 3 teams in the league, but we might be having a chance of being the 4th best. So I'm not sure how much we learn from this.
Interesting. I think we learn a lot, actually. I think we do learn a lot, because I think against Villa, Leeds, Everton, when we do the review, we almost sense a little bit of a relief that we got away with it a little bit. You thought, we weren't quite our best today, but we've got the win. And if you play like that against Liverpool, I think you'll get your bum slapped a little bit. Liverpool, funny enough, the last team we got beat by 2 goals or greater was Liverpool. At the start of the year, January or February, we played them. They beat us 3-1. That's the last time we lost by 2 goals or more, which is incredible, really. We're looking at 10 months on until we still not got beaten by that margin. But that's why I think it tells us a lot. Have we moved on from last season? And I actually have a bit of confidence going, because I think we have. I do think we have improved our mentality on last season. We played City in the Cup, Man United in the Cup. And yes, call them second-string teams or whatever, but both teams had a second-string team out. And I felt a different attitude against those sides compared to the years gone by. And I just think, no, we're changing this, actually. We are changing this. We seem to have less fear of other sides now. And you're right. This won't tell us that we are not one of the best 3 teams in the league. We aren't one of the best 3 teams in the league. We aren't claiming to be. But I think if you want to be the 4th best team in the league, you need to pick up points against Liverpool, Man City and Chelsea throughout the season. It might not be beat them all. It might only be 5 points against all 3 teams, but you need to get points somewhere, because that could be the difference between 4th and 5th. It could be the difference between 6th and 7th. It could be massive. And I think Sunday will tell us a lot, actually. It's how far we've come with our mentality. And like I said to you this morning when we did our Patreon video, that we keep saying, we didn't play great today, but we won. Well, last night against Genk, we played poorly and drew. So while the first phrase is a sign of a good team, so is the second one. But I think Liverpool, I don't think you get away with that. If you don't play well against Liverpool, you lose, in my opinion. However, I'm quite optimistic. I am quite optimistic. I am. I just think we've got this. We've got a spine about us. We won't be bullied anymore. Like we saw against Villa when it kicked off, our players stood up for each other and said, "Come on, then." I think we'll do that on Sunday. I don't think we'll lie down and get our tummies tickled by Liverpool like we have last season and a few seasons before that. It's like Salah, it'll go. I remember. Was our first season at London Stadium? Arsenal beat us 5-1. Yeah, it was, because remember I had to go up Marlon Hayward. But do you remember that game? Alexis Sanchez scored a hat-trick. His 3rd goal, the defence literally parted for him. They said, "Yeah, Alexis, you're on your hat-trick. Hey, there's the red carpet. On you go."
Well, I think we suggested they were doing a mannequin challenge for that one.
Yeah, they were doing something anyway. Those days have gone now. It's a different West Ham. I think we might get something. Anyway, any final words from yourself and your score prediction, please?
You've got to start quick, Gio. You've got to start quick and shut the crowd up. All right, you can't have it. But I do think they're, I do think they were impacted by COVID. I really do. Sorry, Sal. I know I'm going.
I was about to say you're going to the game.
You're right. Forget that. I'm going to the game. Don't shut us up, but we've got to start well, lift the crowd. All right. They're going to have a big contingent there, and then shut them up. Basically, I do feel starting early is fundamental. You know what we'll do if we have the kickoff, which is launch it long, try and get Souček to nod it down, and we'll try and pick up some scraps. But even if not, I'd like 2 or 3 attacks as quickly as possible. But as I said earlier, it's hard to go into this with real confidence that we're going to win. And I would expect Liverpool to score at least 2 goals, which is going to be the problem. Fortunately, I think West Ham are going to score 3.
You're going for a 3-2 win. After all that, playing down our chances, you've spun it round at the end and actually 3-2 West Ham.
A little trick, a little nutmeg at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely tricked me. I was going to say you're losing the plot, but I think you actually are, because you thought we were playing at Anfield, despite the fact you're going on Sunday.
I'll be outside saying, "What's going on? Crikey, it's quiet in Liverpool."
When I said this is a different West Ham, I didn't mean different venue where we go to away games when it's actually at home. I didn't mean that. I think you'll see a bit of a defensive West Ham, actually. I think we'll try and keep a clean sheet because for the reasons you said, Liverpool will score goals. And I think it's a case of, well, let's stop them scoring goals. But I think you will. I think, actually, they're a good opponent for us because we like to play counter-attacking football. And I think that's part of the reason some games we feel like we've not been great to watch this season because teams sit back a bit more against us now and we struggle with that. So actually when a team comes and has a pop at us, it might actually play into our hands a little bit. And I can see that suiting West Ham because on the counter-attack, without wanting to sound like I'm a 19-year-old from where Charlie lives, we are naughty. When we are on the counter-attack, Gonzo, we are proper naughty. And I think we're going to get a few opportunities on Sunday to do that as well. So I'm feeling okay. I always say to you, when something negative happens, you can turn into positive, whether it's Mikel Antonio's red card, blah, blah, blah. That not great performance and result in the end against Genk could be a good thing. Moyes, listen, it's bonfire night tonight. Moyes will be sending out a few fire rockets and rockets up some of those players' arses after last night's game. And I think Liverpool are actually going to feel a bit of like a backlash from our performance last night. Moyes wasn't happy with it. Rice wasn't happy with it. You've heard the players after last night saying they weren't happy with that. I think they believe that. I think they mean it. And I think we're going to see it on Sunday. But despite my positivity, I'm going to say West Ham 1, Liverpool 1. But I'll be okay with the draw. That's progress.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway, we'll be live on Sunday. Gonzo won't be. Gonzo's off to the game, so I'll be live on Sunday. Charlie will be live on Sunday. So come along and join us. If you've enjoyed this preview, drop a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Myself and Gonzo. Catch you in a bit.